So if you just joined us, it would be awesome if you would introduce yourself in the chat, your name, your school, and if there's something specific that you were hoping to be able to learn from today's webinar. I'm Wendy Zadab, MASSP's Executive Director. And with us today, we also have Ryan Casey from MASSP, our Director of Digital Learning. We have Ted Gardella from the College Board, and we have Carrie Anima from the College Board. So we're so excited to have you guys with us today. You are awesome partners. I mean, I know that you probably don't get a whole lot of praise and thanks, but I do want to just say we really appreciate your partnership. Whenever something new comes up like this, the two of you always respond quickly and are willing to jump on and tell MASSP members everything they need to know. So I just want to thank you for always being awesome.
Thanks,
So,
Wendy.
As we start today, as always, MASSP kind of follows the same format. You want to use the Q&A system to actually pose questions. You'll see that if you kind of scroll at the bottom of your screen, you'll see that there is chat and then there's Q&A. So in the chat, that's where we want you to just kind of like make general comments about what you're learning. But if you specifically have a question, make sure that you put it in the Q&A. I will be monitoring those and go back and forth with Carrie and Ted as we go through the presentation to make sure that your questions get answered. At the end of today's webinar, you will get a summary of what we've discussed. So if for some reason you have to leave your office because something comes up, I mean, not that anything would ever come up in a high school, right? If you have to leave and go and attend to something, you will be receiving a recording. So as a reminder, this is a 3-part webinar series. We already did part 1, and today is part 2. 1 and 2 aren't completely like, oh, you had to see part 1 to get to part 2. But remember that we will have a recording available for that one as well. It was really, honestly, incredibly well done. Kind of explained, you know, the AP potential letters that are going to be mailed to families from the department, and also kind of shared ideas how to address that, how to work with your you know, teachers and to be able to grow AP in your district, and also a little bit about the AP Summer Institute. So that recording is available. Today we have with us Carrie and Ted, as mentioned, and we're really going to be focusing today on how do you access the reports yourself? So how do you go into the portal? How do you gain access to that? What does it look like from the student side as well? So we'll be able to talk about those kind of nuts and bolts things today. And once again, we'll be recording this and sharing that with you. And then kind of a +1 to this will be day 3, where we're going to be talking about AP seminar and, you know, the Modern States Initiative, where you can earn CLEP credit as well. So I just kind of moving that even just a step further beyond just AP potential. So we have a nice, I think, 3-part series for you. So we always just kind of share this general disclaimer. You know, we're not sharing anything today that would require legal counsel or anything of that nature. But, you know, things happen, things change. So if as Ted and Carrie might be sharing information about the portal, if like some glitch happens or change happens with that, we'll be sure to pump something out to MASSP members if there's anything that might be different from what is being shared today. Awesome. So I think we are ready, Carrie, for you to go ahead and share your screen. And as we're getting you set up to be able to do that, just a reminder to everyone that may have just logged in, we will be taking Q&A, and I will try to pose those as we go along so that, you know, we can make sure they're kind of sequentially addressed. Is that good with you, Carrie?
Good.
Awesome. Thank you.
And then Carrie, if you want to go up to the display settings again real quick, you can swap it.
And while she's doing that, I'll do a little bit of an intro and a little bit of background, Wendy. So this really is very timely for a couple of reasons. Number one, obviously, with the letters coming from Superintendent Rice and the Michigan Department of Education, it's important for folks to know what data was used in order to generate those letters and how they can see the same data within their tool. But also, really importantly, there was some new language included in this year's Michigan budget that is very, very supportive of community colleges and colleges accepting advanced placement test scores and also CLEP test scores. It's new language in the budget, and it references the fact that Michigan colleges and universities need to use what are called the ACEs qualifying scores for all credit by examination programs. And they're also supposed to let students know, current students know, what alternative pathways to credit there might be. They're supposed to post that information on their website. And what that means is we're ultimately hoping that colleges and universities are going to recognize AP scores of 3 or higher, which is the ACEs recommended score, and also CLEP scores of 50 or higher. We do have a lot of acceptance of CLEP and AP in the state, but as I think everyone knows, it's always been a kind of a crazy quilt of credit policies. And so we're hoping to get closer to something that is more transparent and more accessible by folks. So this budget language is really important. We will be doing a session up at the MCAN conference to talk about the impact of the language, the intent of the language, and how community colleges and colleges are responding. All that being said, it's really important for schools to understand that there are going to be more opportunities for students to get credit by examination, whether it's through AP, IB, CLEP, and other examination programs as well. So putting those in as options for your students is going to be even more valuable than it has been in the past. So Carrie is going to walk us through the AP Potential tool itself, how you add it, how you use it. I'll jump in, with different comments as we go along. And then we certainly want to entertain your questions and comments and really help you use the tool to understand both the letters that are coming out and the opportunities that exist to expand offerings at your school. So with that, I'll turn it over to Carrie.
Great. Thanks, Ted. Good afternoon, everyone. I saw a few familiar names in the chat that we've emailed and talked on the phone back and forth. So good to see or good to hear all of you today. I'm going to share slides how to put the AP Potential tool on your College Board dashboard. And I'll start out by saying my email is on the slide right now. One of the first things that you're going to need is an access code, and there are 3 ways to get that access code. Probably the quickest way would be to email me. So if you want to jot that down, or if you don't already have it, we'll get to that in just a minute. So the first thing that you want to do is log into your College Board account. So you might be able to do that with us today right here as we're talking. And when you bring up your College Board account, it brings up your dashboard and it shows you what you have access to already. So on my dashboard, you can see AP Potential, you can see AP online reports, K-12 assessment reporting, test ordering. All of those are really important things for principals and assistant principals to have. So if you're missing any of those, shoot me an email. We can talk about any of those. But today we're going to talk about AP Potential. If you already see that on your dashboard, you are set and ready to go. If you do not see that listed, and they are generally in alphabetical order, so you would see it at the top, what you want to do is scroll down to the bottom of your screen to where it says Add Additional Tools and Services. And under K-12 is where you would find AP Potential. And my arrow is pointing to the wrong thing. It should be pointing to AP Potential Scoring or AP Potential Get Access. So once you find AP Potential, click Get Access. And it's going to ask you for your school name and for an access code. So if you are a district administrator, you might want to put your district. So if you're Detroit Public Schools, you would put Detroit Public Schools and you would have an access for Detroit Public Schools. And then you would get access to all of the schools. If you're looking for just one particular building, if you're a principal, you're going to want to type in the name of that particular school. So if you are Forest Hills Central High School, type in Forest Hills Central High School, and there is an access code specific to that school. Ted, do you want to jump in?
Sure. Thanks, Carrie. So we always do recommend that district administrators do both things. So get access at the district level But then also make sure that you get the access codes for each of your schools, and then go in and get access for each of the schools, because you can drill down a little bit deeper at the school level than you can as a district person. The other thing I just wanted to note about the access codes. So you would have been emailed an access code last December that would work to give you access for all of this year. So as Carrie said, if you didn't get that email, or if you can't find it, please contact Carrie or me. That will be a much quicker way of getting your access code than calling customer service or anything else. We have access to some tools. We can look up your access code and give that to you. That being said, come this December, you will get another email with a new access code. And the reason that happens is that every year, new student data comes into the tool. And so we have to renew it every year with that new data, with a new access code. We have to make sure you're still affiliated with the school and so forth. So you can use this access code until December, and that will give you the data that is currently in there, which includes the spring assessments, which is what the letters were based on. But then you will get another email from the College Board with a new access code in December. If you don't see that, or maybe it goes into your junk file, please remember, you can always contact either Carrie or myself, and we can get you that access code. Thanks, Carrie.
Thanks, Ted. So like Ted said, 3 ways to find that access code. A, you could find it in your emails from August. B, you can find out that you can call customer service and the number is highlighted with an orange arrow there, or you can email either Ted or myself. So really important that you type in the name of your school and then the correct access code. Once you've done that, AP Potential will show up in your dashboard every day. So you won't need to add that again. It will be there, but like Ted said, you'll have to add a new access code come January. So once you're in your College Board account and you see that blue link to AP Potential, you can click on that at any time. And what's going to pop up looks similar to our test ordering system. So if you're the person that orders tests for your school, this Outlook looks very similar. The very first thing you're going to do is type in your school. You can search by your organization name or your district, but you want to search by organization name and type in your school. So if you are at Cass Tech High School, you'll type in Cass Tech High School. Ted?
Yeah, and so the tool, if you've used the tool in the past, and I think there are some folks on the webinar today who have used the tool in the past, you're going to see that it's a very different look and feel. It's really been improved. It's much more navigable. There's a bit less of the background information, the research information available to you. You can still get that information by going to the College Board website, but with respect to the AP Potential tool, it's much more streamlined. There are also, the reason why we're so glad that we're doing these webinars is because there are no demos yet that exist for the new tool. All of the demos that are on our website are for the old look and feel of the tool. So it's you know, it was really important to get out and show folks how the new tool operates. Much more streamlined, in my opinion, much easier to use, a little bit less of the background information. And then we hope to have new demos available in January of 2023.
Thanks, Ted. I agree. Definitely much more streamlined and much more user-friendly. So once you type in your school name, you're going to get a screen that asks for test criteria. And this is where you can choose which test you want to look at. So MDE is using last spring's testing. If you're a school that offers PSAT and MSQT in the fall, you might choose to use that because you're going to have that information back in November. So totally up to you which one you choose. For this specific example, I chose last spring, 2022 PSAT 10 administration. So the next thing you're going to be asked is which subjects. And this is going to depend on your purpose. So if you are looking to grow your AP biology numbers, you can choose AP biology. Or actually, I'm skipping ahead. You choose which subjects that you want to look for. You could choose AP biology, you can choose a number of different courses, or you could select all courses. And then the third thing you're going to choose is which grade level that you want to look at. Do you want to look at all kids that took that test? If you choose the PSAT 10, it's going to be 10th graders anyway, but let's say you chose to do the SAT. That's going to include seniors and juniors. Ted, you want to add?
Sure. So again, because we're trying to help folks understand how the letters were generated, the letters were generated using two different data sets. So the first data set was the PSAT 9 for 9th graders from the spring administration. And those letters will be sent to current 10th graders. But when you use PSAT 9, there are only two courses that the AP Potential tool works for, and that is because of the correlations. So we're very attuned research-wise to only those courses that have strong correlations between PSAT scores and AP scores are listed. So for PSAT 9, so the letters that are going to your current 10th graders would only include AP World History and AP European History if they have AP Potential for those for one or both of those subjects. With respect to your 11th graders, the state used the data from the PSAT 10 spring administration, and that will be for all of AP courses, or all 24 that are within the AP Potential tool. So students could get letters that have a number of AP courses for which they have AP Potential. But if you want to see the students who will be getting letters in your school, then you would choose the PSAT 10 spring administration, and you'll use the defaults, which Carrie is going to describe, and you'll simply limit it to 10th graders. But know that, of course, those 10th graders from last spring are now your current 11th graders. And so they will be getting those letters in November, probably a great time to help them choose courses for their senior year, because the course selection sheets will be coming out, say January or so. So getting this information to them in that November, December timeframe is a really advantageous one for their schedule.
And what do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so one of the difficulties that might come with that is obviously parents will be getting these letters and their child might already currently be enrolled in those classes. So they might be thinking, this is strange, like, why am I getting this? You know, the other thing that could happen is the student could have already taken one of those classes previously. So I can see where this might just cause a little bit of confusion. So just important for principals and counselors to just kind of know those questions might be coming your way. And that the letters are kind of just generically based. It's not sorting and knowing that the student has already taken that class. So that might just be something to keep in mind. And as we referenced the letters, the best information I had about this, Ted, was that they would be going out sometime early November. Do you happen to know if there's a more clear date on when they're being mailed?
I don't have the exact date, but I think you're right. And you raise a really great point, Wendy, because, you know, as we look at AP Potential, you're going to see things like AP Computer Science Principles. And so that they could get a letter that says, hey, based on your 10th grade PSAT score, you should be thinking about AP CSP. And they could very well say, I already took that. It was a great suggestion. I already took it, and I got a 4 or 5 or a 3 on the exam. So some of the courses where you might see 10th graders enrolling, like AP CSP or even AP Psychology, they might have already taken those courses. So it's a great point. And also know that the data is going to come out of the tool regardless of whether your school offers that course or not. And that's why this webinar is so important, because if you look at your data and you see, and this is one of the points that I know Carrie's going to do in an upcoming slide, if you see a large population of students who have the potential for a course that you don't offer, could be a good signal about some ways to expand your AP offerings. And then also, I want to say this because, you know, we're talking to folks who may be offering lots of different options for students, including dual credit, including other rigorous coursework. It may be that your school doesn't offer AP, but offers something else, same subject matter, but with a different way to give students an opportunity to get college credit while they're in high school. So you can have those conversations with parents. This tool is really, and the research behind this tool is really focused on the relationship between PSAT scores and AP scores. And that's why the letters are going to seem so focused on advanced placement.
Sure. Thanks, Ted and Wendy, both really great points. So back to our step-by-step guide. You are probably going to want to choose the spring of last year for your PSAT 10, just so you can see exactly who's getting the letter. But like we've alluded to, there's also different ways that you can use this for your own purposes. If you are looking to grow AP, or you're looking to see, are the students that are in our AP courses connecting with who's showing potential? Once you select that, it's going to give you the opportunity to choose which exams you want to look at. So like I said earlier, you can select all, or you can select 1 or 2 or 3, and then you can choose which grade levels you want to look at. So what's going to appear once you select that is every single AP course. And then in that second column that's highlighted in yellow are the number of students. So in this particular school, I'm seeing art history, 117 kids. The next column shows me last year how many exams were taken and how many students earned a 3 or higher. So if I'm the principal of this particular school, my mind is already thinking, wow, we have 117 students showing potential in AP art history, and we don't offer that, or we don't have students taking that. Why is that? Do we not have staff? Do we need to offer that online? That's an interesting thing for me to look at. Another thing that I might look at is maybe English language and composition. I have 117 students showing potential, and 88 students took that course already. So we're already offering that course, and we're showing students with potential there. The other thing that you're going to see over on the left-hand side is the pool. That's where you can show what percentage of students are showing the potential to earn a 3 or higher on the exam. You have the ability to toggle that back and forth and change that number to maybe 50%. If you're looking to grow a program, maybe you want to see who 50% likely to earn a 3 or higher. Maybe you want to be 70% likely or higher. The MD used the 60% that automatically pops into that. Ted, you want to add to that?
Yeah, so this is a great screen to show the perfect example here. So this particular school, there are going to be 117 students who get a letter, and art history, AP art history is going to be included as one of the courses that those students show potential for. Again, as Carrie mentioned, the state used the default setting, which is the 60% likelihood to get a 3 or higher on the exam. And so, you know, this is one where you might want to consider what other options are available for students in those subject areas. There's also a lot of great information that you can gain from looking at this screen with the comparisons from the exams taken last year and the exam score of 3 or higher. So for instance, you know, I mentioned computer science principles, 30 students, it seems probably likely that you might only have 1 or 2 sections of AP computer science principles, but there's a great potential for many more students to be successful. The other thing that you can also use this screen to do is to determine what's the kind of outcomes that you're getting from your AP classes. You know, if we look at computer science A, 26 students took the exam and 24 got a 3 or higher. That shows a high degree of success for that teacher in that course. Similarly, sometimes it's not really evident on this screen, but sometimes you'll see a large number of students who take the test, but a very small number who get a 3 or higher. And that might indicate that your teacher might need some more professional development, maybe a refresher workshop, a one-day workshop, another AP Summer Institute, or they might just need some help directing them to AP Classroom and all the tools that are available there to help them improve the performance of their students. But this is really a great screen to show because, you know, for instance, you can look at environmental science. It looks like you might be offering 2 sections. You might be able to expand that. So it's not only a great tool to see what courses that you're not currently offering that you could, but also to look at where you could expand sections and expand opportunities for students. The last thing I'll say here, and I'll probably jump in on it again later on, adjusting the pool percentage is something that's a very good idea to do, but only after you've had a conversation with your teacher, because it's important for them to know, hey, we're going to decrease the percent likelihood because we want to expand the pool of students. So we're maybe going to go down to 50% likely to get a 3, 4, or 5. You really want to have that conversation with the teacher first. I remember a couple of different times when I was in Michigan as a administrator, I had a teacher who came to me and said, I only want to teach AP US government. So, and I'm a great AP government teacher. So you can dip that percentage down to 40% because I'm that good of a government teacher. I also had a statistics teacher who came to me the very first year we talked about AP potential and said, look, I'm a statistics teacher. I flip coins in my class all the time. So I'm willing to take it to 50% because I want to build our statistics program. Again, those were conversations I was having with the AP teacher, and they were aware or wanted to change the percent likelihood because they wanted to build their program. So it's a great customizable piece of the tool, but only after you've had those conversations with staff.
Great points, Ted. And also, I'm sure we all know to think about motivation, think about interest. This is just one piece of information that's giving you who's showing potential based on those spring scores from students. There's a lot of other things to consider. So when you're on that screen and you can see where you can toggle each one, you're probably wondering, how am I going to see the students and what letters are the students going to get? Who is that going to? Just a clarity right here, I put a slide in to let you know when you set that pool level of 60%, the roster includes all students with the probability of receiving an AP exam score of a 3, 4, or 5. So just so you remember what that 60% was. But once you click on the next step, you're going to see a list of student names. I've redacted the students' names for this slide purpose, but the very far left column is the name. So you, as the principal, assistant principal, counselor, are going to see every name of every student in your school and what courses are showing up on their letter that their parents are going to receive. So student number 1 doesn't have any check marks in any of the courses showing on this screen. Student number 2 is showing a lot of check marks. So I'm going to show you in a minute what the letter looks like, but this helps you see which students are going to receive a letter showing which courses. Ted?
Yeah, Carrie, so, and I know you're going to talk about this, but there are many ways to use this particular screen. You can also click into the course name and you'll get information just about those students. You can click on the student name, you'll get more specific information about that student. But as Carrie mentioned, so the student who's in row 4, they're going to get one letter, but it is going to list all of those courses for which they have the potential to be successful. So in student number 3, they're only going to have 4 courses listed in their letter. And then student number 4 is going to have many more courses listed in there. The max that they could get is 24. There are 24 AP exams within the AP potential tool because the other exams don't have a strong enough correlation between the PSAT score and success at the 60% level in order to be included in here. So there are some courses that are not included within the AP potential tool.
Great point. And if you're looking on your own screen right now, you're seeing names across that first column to the left. If you were to click on the name of a student, let's say in student number 1's, her name was Jane, you can click right on there. It's a linkable link. And then what it's going to show up is this. The student's name happens to be Grace. It's going to give you that information, gender, ethnicity, which school, grade level, and it's also going to show you their actual score that they earned on that PSAT 10 score last spring. So clicking on the name of the student gives you an individualized readout on what that particular student information shows. The other thing, if you go back to that screen that shows you the list of students and all of the information, it gives you the opportunity to either generate sample letters or to download data. If you were to click on generate sample letters, that's going to immediately give you a screen that lets you customize that letter. So it allows you to type in the contact name, it allows you to say, give a signature, it allows you to print them in Spanish or English, and it allows you to do a letterhead or a logo, so you can specify that to your school. And it's that simple. You just fill in that criteria, that information, and you click generate and download, and it's going to bring up all of your letters for all of the students in your school. So this is a sample letter of what that looks like. The MDE letter will be similar to this, but not exact. So it's going to say, dear parent or guardian, we're happy to share with you that your student's been identified as a student with potential to succeed in advanced placement courses. And we believe the student should strongly consider taking specifically one or more of the following AP courses. And this is where it lists all of the different courses that you saw listed on the screen prior. And then it's going to give a little bit more information about the AP program. This is if you chose to download the letter on your own and send it to your students, what that looks like. Ted?
Yeah, so what happens is you get a large file, and each page is a student letter to one particular student. I think sometimes they can go to 2 pages if they have a lot of courses. But within that file, it's a Word file, so you can actually work with your technology folks, maybe put it on your letterhead. You can also dress the letter up, but the text itself is in a Word format, so you can go and do some search and replaces if you want to. But what that customizing section did is it allowed you to put in who they should contact and then a signature line. In order to customize further, you're going to need to take that Word file and work with that. But it will have one letter for each student. But we'll have lots more to talk about when we go to the download section. But these are the letters that are generated. The MDE chose to create their own letter, and so it's a little bit different from this. It's more similar to the work that some other states have done in doing this exact same thing. Connecticut has been doing this for many, many years from the state superintendent, but they chose to write their own letter, which was really great. And those will be coming out, as Wendy said, and as we know, in November.
So if you go back to that original screen with all of the names and the columns, you also have the opportunity to download data. So you can look at that data, you can click on the name of the student and get that individualized data. You can do a sample letter from that screen, or you can download data. If you chose to download data, I've imported it into an Excel worksheet. And what it's going to show you is the name of the student. For purposes today, I just put A student, B student, C student. We took out the names, but you can sort. You could sort by any way or shape or form, just like you can sort anything in Excel. But one of the things you might want to think about is sorting by ethnicity, looking to see how many students, if you're looking to grow your program or you're looking to increase access to specific types of students, you can sort by ethnicity, you can sort by gender, you can sort by grade level, you can sort by course. Ted, you want to add to that?
Yep, that's actually a strategy that we have we've developed, and we call it the equity sort. So the great thing about this CSV file is when you put it into Excel, you can, for instance, let's say you want to increase the number of female students who are taking technology courses or STEM courses. Well, you can sort by gender within Excel, and then you can further look at the courses like AP Computer Science Principles or AP Statistics or AP Calculus, and see where you can increase that commitment to expanding equity. And then as Carrie said, you can also sort by ethnicity. If you want to look for underrepresented students who have the potential to be successful in rigorous coursework. But I do want to offer one caveat. the ethnicity data that is in the AP potential tool is not the ethnicity data that comes from the student's UIC code. This is the self-reported ethnicity. When a student takes an exam and they fill in their ethnicity, that's why you will see some that don't have an ethnicity listed because they didn't fill in that bubble on the answer sheet. So this is the College Board's test data from that test. It is not the student's UIC data. So I always give that as a caveat that it's their self-reported data, but it can be helpful in looking for equity sorts. The other thing you can do once you've got this into the Excel spreadsheet is you can sort based on the Y in a particular course. And so what that does is it gives you a very nice recruiting list for your AP teachers. So if you sort this Excel spreadsheet based on having a Y under the biology, then all of those students who have a Y, you'll be able to export that list. That then becomes something for the biology teacher to look at and talk about with their colleagues. Same thing for any of these other courses. Once you identify those students who have a Y there, then that really becomes a recruiting list. It's also a great advising list for counselors. We talk a little bit in Michigan, probably not enough. We talk about the value of English, Lang, and Comp with respect to SAT scores. So we know that having students take AP Lang and Comp in 11th grade can have a positive impact on their SAT scores in that spring 11th grade SAT that they take. So there's a lot of great information when you do the download that you can work through and share with your staff. As Wendy has said, when you're looking to build your program, expand your program, add sections or add courses, this is an incredibly valuable document.
Thanks, Ted. So not only for today to see which letters are going to be sent to which student, but you can use this at any point of time of the year, any day. And hopefully it's just as simple as 3, maybe 4 screens to get you to this point. You see that specific data for each student. I put on there my email if you have any questions. And I also put Jeff McNeil on there if you have specific MDE questions. And then of course, I'm sure Wendy, you could answer most questions for people. If you happen to see a course that maybe you don't offer and you're looking to find another school that maybe offers that, let's use seminar for an example. Maybe you're showing a high number of students that are showing potential for AP seminar and you don't offer that. Feel free to reach out and say, hey, where's a school we could talk to that's already offering this, or we could go visit and see. So if you happen to run into that, we're always happy to help make those connections as well. So thanks for letting us be with you today. If you have any questions about your access code or how to maneuver through this or getting this access to someone else in your district or building, feel free to just call us or email us anytime.
I don't know, Ted, if you want to go ahead and say your things before I ask a couple of questions.
Sure. So, I do want to echo, what Carrie has said about connecting. The other thing that I really want to encourage principals and counselors to do, if you're thinking about expanding, there are 2 really powerful resources for teachers. One, there is an AP teacher community. It's an online teacher community for every single AP course. Making sure that your teachers, if they are interested in offering a course, get into that AP teacher community well before they even take an AP Summer Institute, because I have seen incredible things in the APT. I've seen people who are thinking about offering the course and they ask a question and 30 seconds later they get responses from AP teachers all over the country, encouraging them, letting them know that they're willing to share resources, that they're willing, reach out and I'll help. It's a great community of educators. The other thing is I would encourage, if you are thinking about offering a course, to really get teachers connected with somebody else who is in AP Classroom so that they can see all of the different resources that are available to teachers, including AP daily videos, all kinds of support questions, sample questions, quizzes, lots and lots of resources. And then the final thing I would mention is make sure that, when you do have interest in expanding your program, that teachers grab the course and exam description booklet from the website. It's available as a PDF. It will give them all of the answers that they need with respect to the course framework, with respect to sample lesson ideas. So just making sure that if you are going to think about expanding, get your teacher involved in the AP teacher community as soon as possible. Make sure that they download the course and exam description booklet from AP Central, and then connect them to another teacher who's been using AP Classroom, because knowing it can really boost the confidence, knowing all the resources that are available for students and teachers.
That's really helpful. Great advice, Ted, as always. So a couple of things that you mentioned, that access code changes in December. Do you anticipate any changes to the portal at that time?
So remember that there's our score portal, which is for the SAT suite results. That's available to schools. AP Potential is its own tool it sits within your personal College Board account. So the access code is going to give you access to the tool within your educator College Board account. You don't have to go into the score portal to use AP Potential. They're actually two different tools. But what we anticipate is that there will be fall testing data that will be loaded into the tool in December. Then you'll get that new access code, and then you can start using the tool again in January with all of the fall data. Generally, when we do the spring data, it gets loaded into the tool, I think usually August. Once we deliver all that data to the state for the spring testing, I believe that the tool refreshes with spring testing data in August. So look for that for next year.
Okay, how about an inside scoop on any new courses that are going to be offered in the next couple of years?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question, Wendy. So we actually have quite a few courses that are going to be launched over the next couple of years. So one of the courses that I'm very excited about is AP African American Studies, which is in year one of its pilot. So it is actually being taught at 60 schools in the United States. Here in Michigan, Cass Tech High School is piloting year one AP African American Studies. That course will go into a second year of pilot. So the second year of pilot is going to be 23-24. Invitations to the year two pilot already went out. So schools, I think we had about 60 or 70 schools in Michigan who got invitations to participate in year two. So 23-24 will be year two of the pilot. That course will officially launch in 24-25. Another course that is launching earlier is AP Pre-Calculus. AP Pre-Calculus has been something that a lot of folks have asked for over the years, because quite frankly, no matter how you teach pre-calculus, it ends up being a college level course. It doesn't matter whether it's regular or honors or anything else. It's a course that frequently gets credit for college. So AP is launching a pre-calculus course, and that course will launch next year, 23-24. So if you want to get ready for AP pre-calculus, letters went out, I think last week, to all schools that offer advanced placement about the new course. You can actually go to AP Central and find out more information. There's a course framework there. Certainly encourage you to add it to your course selection books this year. And I know this is a great time to be talking about that. We think it's going to be a really great course. There are a couple of other courses that will be launching under similar timeframes. One is AP Anatomy and Physiology will be launching. AP Business Principles will be launching as well. And I think I'm forgetting one, Carrie. Which one am I forgetting?
Anatomy, Physiology?
I said Anatomy and
Okay.
Physiology. I said Business Principles, said Pre-Calc, and I said AP African American Studies. Maybe that is all. It is 4. Okay. So the really important ones that are launching, so Pre-Calc is launching next year, African American Studies in 24-25, and I believe the other two courses anatomy and physiology and business principles are also on the 24-25 timeline. Business principles is going to be kind of an intro to business course. It's going to be one that we envision that a lot of career and technology education centers will be very interested in. Anatomy and physiology has been, that has been something that folks have been asking for years. And so we think that will be a really great course. Again, it might fit in well under your CTE offerings, or it might just fit in very well with your offerings as well. And I'm incredibly excited about the next session in this webinar series about talking about AP Seminar, AP Research, and then also talking about how CLEP can expand credit opportunities for students in your schools, especially given the great support that Modern States Education Alliance has offered, so that schools can really augment existing courses, or even add new coursework that students can get through Modern States, and then take a CLEP test if their school is a test center.
So Ted, we, in our first part of this webinar series, we talked about the AP Summer Institute, and we had the coordinator of that from Novi High School just speak to, the online opportunity as well as, in-person APSI training for teachers. Do do they with these new courses coming online, is there a Summer Institute prior to those starting?
Yes, there will be. So any schools that decide to participate in the pilot for African American Studies, there will be a kind of a national APSI. And then, of course, once they've worked through, all of the input that they get from year 1 and year 2, and then officially launch it, there will be AP Summer Institutes the year of. So I would anticipate that not only will the pilot start next year, but there will be more introductory AP Summer Institutes for AP African American Studies. Same thing for pre-calculus; those will be coming up this summer. But I go back to those recommendations that I made. If you're thinking about it, I would get people involved in the AP teacher communities. I don't know. I think AP African American Studies has already started a teacher community. We can certainly get that information to you before your next webinar. But the teacher community is a great add-on. I encourage teachers to take an AP Summer Institute. But one of the things that we've learned, especially here in Michigan, with our AP Computer Science Principles project with the MySTEM Network and Code.org, what we've learned is that teachers are really hungry for ongoing professional development. It's been one of the strengths of the Code.org program, is that you get an AP Summer Institute, then you join a cohort, you have 4 one-day sessions the year after, and then they keep going. They're constantly going. And we see that in these teacher communities. We see people establishing cohorts and really working together over many years. So the AP Summer Institute is very important when starting. The course and exam description is many AP teachers describe it as their Bible. Getting involved really quickly in AP Classroom and finding out about the tools that you're going to be able to use and offer your students, another really important point. So we like to kind of provide that ongoing support to teachers. One of the things I think teachers got really surprised about, and this actually came out of the pandemic. When we were first going into the pandemic, the AP program developed these AP daily videos. And so now every year since then, we've created AP daily videos. So every day a student can see a 5 or 10 minute video on an important subject within AP, and then connect to practice questions through AP Classroom. So there really is so much more support for AP teachers than there was even 5 years ago. It's not just the professional development, it is ongoing support.
Well, I think once someone gets into it too and gets some experience, being a grader or a reader for the assessments is like next level as well.
Absolutely. Any teachers who have 3 years of experience teaching the course can become an AP reader. And Wendy, as well as you've heard from teachers back when you were a principal. I heard from teachers when I was superintendent. It was the best professional development they ever had, to be able to go work with college faculty, reading national responses, reading all the students' responses. And it's quite an amazing event. I was able to go twice to the AP reading. I of course, since I was a former math teacher, I was geeking out with the AP Calculus Chief Reader. And it was the year that I believe that they surpassed, I think it was the year they surpassed 600,000 exams. And so, they have this great group of readers who are reading 600,000 exams times 4, constructed response questions. So 2.4 million student responses that they were reading in about 9 days and scoring them. And it's absolutely an amazing event. And so really encourage teachers who have been teaching the course for a couple of years, get your name in, let Carrie and I know of your interest so that we can advocate for you. Make sure we get some readers here in Michigan.
Awesome. Well, I think that you answered all the extra bonus questions as well. So we really appreciate you, as usual, supporting our work here in Michigan. And I know that on part 3, we also have a colleague of yours from College Board who's really more affiliated with CLEP joining us. So we're excited to be able to continue, to have your expertise at the table. And we're looking forward to part 3. So if you missed part 1, we can get you that. We'll send it with the recap to this webinar for today, and then also encourage you to register for part 3. And you'll be able to get just all the information you need to be up and running, not only to anticipate the letter. I mean, the letter is just kind of like one piece of the puzzle here, but also just to be able to really be thinking about, how do you grow your advanced placement opportunities for students and do it in a way that is best practice and prepares teachers and provides just more opportunities for kids, like in a smart way that works for your school. So hopefully we're putting together the pieces of the puzzle for you, and we're looking forward to joining you again for part 3. Hope everyone has a great day. Thanks again, Carrie and Ted.
Thank you, Wendy, and thanks to MASP and all the members for the interest that they continue to exhibit in College Board.
Yes, thank you very much.